Buddy Natalie coming to live, Spirit and Coffee. Got my coffee here. hmm It is Life Boost. You guys want the link to purchase? Please let me know. I can do that for you. Okay. Woo, good morning. Time to get the day started. A little bit later today. Good morning, Margot. Um, Starting a little bit later today because why I don't go into work a little bit later. So it's nice to get some rest. I can tell you right now, in order for us to stay sane and okay, we need to get our rest. Something that I tend to not do so well. But good morning. I don't know who just got on here on the Facebook Live, but good morning. Good morning. Thank you for letting me join your great group. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're always welcome, Margot. Everybody's always welcome. From all walks of life, of course. I think, is that Nicole? I think it is. Yes. Good morning. So, yeah, making sure that we rest our bodies. Our bodies are so magnificent and they can do so much, but really, we never really received a sort of a blueprint or operational manual that tells us how to utilize our vessel. And so we've been walking around this planet and Earth trying to figure out, good morning, Naveen, how to utilize our body. Now, there are ancient practices in India, like the Vedas and stuff, and Ayurvedic medicine, and perhaps the curanderas where I live are the medicine healers who actually support us. Good morning, bestie. Hi. Oh, my bestie's on here. How are you? I haven't seen you in so long. Feels like billion trillion years. But our vessels, our bodies, they did come with instruction manuals from other people, but it almost is like we don't even know how to operate our bodies, right? And it's kind of funny because we'll try to operate and tell people how to live their life, but we don't even know how to live our life or to operate our bodies. We'll say this: I'm trying to learn my own body, how to operate my body so that I can what illuminate, so that I can be a vessel of God. And to do that, it takes very, very disciplined practices. Now, the what we eat, what we consume, what we put in our bodies is a big part of it. Understanding how our body responds to certain foods and not, and that kind of thing. It's really not easy. But I will tell you this: rest is in critical, critical, critical. So there's a couple of things that I'd say to start just to help your body to be able to absorb all of the chemicals and everything that we have going on in our world right now, which is just crazy, right? It's taking a toll on our physical well-being, which I would say get rest. Make sure you drink plenty of water. And then, make sure that you're eating as clean as you possibly can. And make sure you're doing some breathing. Some sort of physical activity too is also good. Walking, whatever it is that you want to do. But taking care of our physical bodies is so, so, so hard to do at times, especially when we have all of the pollutions, all of the, everything that's going on in the world, all of the chemicals that are in the air. And now we have chemtrails here. I don't know if they're just doing it in the US or if it's happening worldwide, but chemtrails everywhere, they're dumping chemicals. And what ends up happening is we end up experiencing chronic pain and exhaustion. And it's the exhaustion parts that get to us because it's like, how can we even think about going to do this intense workout or even go work out when we're so exhausted from all of the stuff that's happening? Okay. So, what I would say to you for that is just do something, anything, any kind of movement, even if it's just stretching. Yoga is a good one. You can just do your regular stretches, even if it's just, basic, simple something to get the body moving, get those chemicals kind of out of you, up and out, however you can. And I'm talking about this because today, good morning, Ming, good morning, Zelda, good morning, Jacqueline, good morning, the Bureka, Alex, Claire, Jeremy, Connor, Betsford. Sorry, I don't know, I'm probably butchering all this. I apologize. Um, but I'm saying this because I got up today just feeling so exhausted, so tired, and I'm like, oh my God, but it's because I do a lot, right? I'm constantly go, 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 go. Where I say I just need a day to rest, and just to relax. But I'm gonna get a massage next week. So there you go. You guys treat yourself to a massage, treat yourself to something. So, what are you going to do to love yourself? What are you going to do to support yourself, to relax your body, to allow your body to feel good and to sort of be in this state of peace and tranquility and harmony and balance? What are you going to do for yourself? That's my question to you guys. What is it that you will do for yourself to support you to feel better? And we all kind of deserve that, right? It's rest. Good morning, Orlando. Rest and relaxation is critical, especially for those ones who are go, 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 go. When you're constantly on the go, when you're constantly on the run, if you have children, if you're constantly cleaning, moving, doing this, that, the other, it's like a never ending story for you. Take some time to pause. Take a pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I doing something to love and nurture and care for my own self, my own vessel? So it is hard because we don't have the instructions. Like I said, we do in certain texts, like I said, the Vedas and certain texts kind of explain how to take care of our bodies, but it's such a complex thing, right? Our bodies are so complex and everybody's unique individual body is different and reacts different to different things, different foods. And so you've got to kind of figure out what works for you. What always works is water for everybody, to drink water, that's important, and to breathe, those two things. And I'll tell you what works for me, coffee. So I'm gonna take a drink. Salud and cheers. If you have your coffee, I cheers to you. Take a sip. Perhaps we should play a game. They do drinking games, and I'm not a drinker, but maybe we can do a game where it's like every time I say a word, you guys take a little sip of your coffee. Good morning, Athena. How are you? Okay, let's get started. Let's read a little bit. We're almost done with the four agreements, you guys. I mean, the chapter and the book itself. Um, you know, I'm like, wow, we're getting through this book pretty quickly. And we're going to have to move on to the power now. The power now is going to be a little bit more intense. I think also, perhaps in the future, to do some Carolyn Miss or Mice and Miss, I think I'm saying her name right, where she does the anatomy of the spirits. Good morning, Doreen. The Anatomy of the Spirit and Sacred Contracts. And I think Sacred Contracts is going to be a really good book for us to read on here because it really kind of gives us an idea of how we engage in relationships and that how to let go of relationships that are toxic, how not to cling on to them, and understanding that we have contracts with people that we make. And guys have heard this saying before, I'm sure. People come in for a reason, a season, or a lifetime into your life. And it's really explaining what that means. What does it mean if someone comes into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime? How do we let that go? How do we allow ourselves to let go of toxic relationships without feeling terrible inside? Now, we may feel bad and it's okay, but how do we let it go and then move on to something new and know that there's something greater, better for us to step into? Okay. Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk about not making assumptions. Again, this is super hard. If you don't understand something, it's better for you to ask and get clear. And we talked about that the other day about really communicating with people, getting clear communications. And then you'll have a changing relationship when you're clear and both parties know. Okay, there's an acceptance, there's a contract, that's what they call sacred contract. Two individuals saying, yes, I consent to this is what we're up to, rather than assuming and making the consent in your head and the other person has no idea that this is something that you have in your head. Okay, it's just a practice that helps you get clear. It also helps you to create your life and go a little bit quicker on developing the things that you want to in your life in terms of your creative self, or if there's a company you want to work on, or if it's a relationship you want to be in, whatever it may be, if you communicate clearly, it makes it a lot easier for that to happen. Okay. This then is the third agreement. Don't make assumptions. Just saying this sounds easy, but understand it is difficult to do. It is difficult because so often we do exactly the opposite. We all have our habits and routines that we are not aware of. Becoming aware of these habits and understanding the importance of this agreement is the first step. But understanding its importance is not enough. Information or an idea is merely a seed in your mind. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why I do read the book and sort of talk about what it is. How do you use it in your practical life? Yeah, I could tell you this all day. Okay, I can sit here and tell you stuff all day. Good morning, Kristen. And I could say, oh, yeah, this, that, the other. And you're like, oh, yeah, that all sounds good. But to practice it is a whole other story. When people say, yeah, I know. Yeah, but do you know? Do you actually practice it? Because to know something is to embody it. That becomes the wisdom, right? The wisdom that we inherit from that knowing, that understanding. So knowing something conceptually isn't going to get you there. Understanding it conceptually isn't going to get you there. It's the practices that we take on that help us get there. So to not make assumptions, the first thing that gets to happen is the presence. Be aware of your habits, be aware of what's coming up, be aware of how this is showing up for you, when it shows up. Because if you're not aware it's showing up, you're never going to know. So this takes being completely honest with yourself, being truthful with yourself. Okay, so we all have our habits, like you said. Now, to break habits or to shift habits is not an easy thing. But understanding its importance, and I shouldn't say, yeah, it's not easy. It's difficult. It can be difficult. I think that's a good word. I like that word. Be understanding its importance is not enough. Information or ideas merely the seed in your mind. What will really make a difference is action, and that is the practices that we take on. Taking the actions over and over again, strengthening your will, nurtures the seeds and establishes a solid foundation for a new habit to grow. So this is again the practice over and over and over until it becomes almost an automatic for you. Okay, and then it'll establish a very strong foundation so that you can then grow into what it is that you're practicing. If you're practicing to be a present when you're making assumptions and not communicating effectively with people, not being able to say what you need to say, it becomes a practice of saying, okay, there it is again. I'm not saying what I want to say. I'm just holding it in. I'm not saying anything. Rather than saying, how do I go through the fire? How do I communicate this thing that feels so damn scary to me, but I'm going to do it anyway? Then you start to grow the habit of communicating effectively, engaging in those uncomfortable conversations, being able to communicate what your heart's desire is, being able to communicate what works for you, being able to communicate the emotions that are internal for you, and with clarity and standing firm in that ground. After many repetitions, this new agreement will become second nature. And you will see how the magic of your world transforms from black magician into white magician. A white magician uses the word for creation, giving, sharing, and loving. By making this one agreement a habit, your whole life will completely be transformed. So that's exactly what we're saying. To be a light worker is to give, right? It's to forgive. It's to open up your heart. It's to communicate clearly what is coming up for you from a place of kind, care, loving, not to harm, not to manipulate. It is your word in motion, your divine sacred word in action. How do we take the action of our divine sacred word and move it outward and co-create, right? With our brothers and sisters, with God. When you transform your whole dream, magic just happens in your life. And I told you this about masters. The only difference, and I've said it a trillion gazillion times, the only difference between what we call a master and a beginner is that a master is well practiced. That's it. That's really it. They just practice over and over and over and over. And they don't stop practicing. They don't say, oh, yeah, I got there. I'm good now. I'm going to stop practicing. I'm good. Look at what happens to, let's just talk about like some of these athletes. if the athlete stops practicing, then what happens? They get bad again, right? They're not as good as they were when they were practicing and have a coach. And then they get a coach and they start practicing again and they get better. That's why we have coaches, life coaches. I have coaches. I have a nutrition coach. I'm going to get a trainer. I decided to get a trainer, right? Because I know that those are important things for me to elevate and take the next level in my life. They can see the things that we can't see. They help us to recognize the things that we can't. And that's why we have coaches. That's why life coaches are so critical. All kinds of coaches, right? I wouldn't go to my nutrition coach for my life lessons, although he could. But there's certain things that I go to certain coaches for specific things in my life. This is important. They help us stay on our A game. They help condition us and keep us in the practice so that we can then look at what it says. We start to do things faster for our life. We start to create faster and faster and faster and faster, which is fine. And we end up leaving a legacy for ourselves. That's what this is about. What is your legacy? What are you going to leave behind? What do you want your legacy to be? Okay. Good morning, Sona. Good morning, Alex, Simone, infamous hitman. Is that what that is? 3757. Papa Lion. Good morning, Pa, BBP. Dusty, good morning. Sorry if I didn't say good morning to everybody. So we use that word to create, and it's white magic, and everything's transform, okay? When you transform your whole dream, magic just happens in your life. What you need comes to you easily because spirit moves freely through you. This is what they call like the secret, right? The secret of life. The secret is that things will then just be magnetized towards you. They don't tell you this. They just say, oh, close your eyes and dream about it and think about it and feel it and all this stuff. But it's something deeper than that, you guys. That's what I'm trying to teach you. That's what this is about. Platform is for people that truly show up and do this work, will really transform their life into something beautiful. But you've got to practice it. It doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of work. Things come into my life. Why? Because I practice. And I show you guys miracles left and right. I've shown you guys over and over and over and over and over again. Sonia, share the live show. What do you mean by that, Sonia? Is it Sonia or Sona? Okay. This is mastery of intent, the mastery of spirit, the mastery of love, the mastery of gratitude, the mastery of life. Sorry. This is a goal of the Toltec. This is the path to personal freedom. So we're going to get to the fifth agreement or the fourth agreement. I'm sorry, chapter 5 tomorrow, which is always do your best. I love this agreement. It's really for people who do their life, are so hard on themselves. Like, I'm going to point the finger at myself because I'm so hard on myself on everything. Some things that I get to work on, right? I'm human. I'm having this human experience just like you guys. So good morning, Pat P. Good morning, RY Nova. No, right? No, sorry, I don't know. Good morning, PB8C7. PBG. So with our life, with everything that I'm saying, remember, it's taking it from concept to action, literally working with it. How do we do that? Become aware and present when we do take things personally. If we take them personally, asking ourselves, why are we taking it personally? Oh, you shared this to your good friend. Why, thank you. I appreciate you sharing. And I hope your good friend gets some value out of it. And I hope everybody on here is getting value out of this. That's my hope. Um, don't take it personal. Um, never make assumptions. And be impeccable with your word. So we're on those 3 agreements so far. Be impeccable with your word is loving yourself, talking to yourself kindly so that you could talk to others kindly, recognizing when you're being foul in your words with others and with yourself. And then shifting that conversation into a loving, kind conversation with yourself, right? Making agreements that are going to support you. Okay. Then 2, yeah, I am talking about the book. It is the 4 agreements, Spiritual Life Woman. And the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Um, I talk a lot more than I read actually, but I am reading that book. And then Spiritual Field Woman. I thinks it, yes, it's a great book. And I also read it and just talk about how people can actually utilize it and move in their life through it because the book, yeah, gives you instructions, but people then don't know how to take those instructions and perhaps move them forward and make them work for them. And that's the biggest thing that we bump up against is like, how do we take what these people are telling us and how do we then move it forward to actually create in our life? And we're like, yeah, it all sounds good. I get it conceptually, but there's something beyond just the conceptual, right? It is actual action. It's taking action on it. It's understanding how to take action. It's practicing it. It doesn't just happen. You don't just read a book and then all of a sudden everything gets magnetized to you and your life is 100% good and everything is just coming in your life perfectly. It's not how it works. I wish it did. And I wish there was a pill we could just take and it was just like everything's perfect harmony. Yeah, right. That's not how it works. Love you too. You as well. Um, so it doesn't work that way. And we know that. It takes practice. It's hard. Life is not easy. This world is a difficult place. It is very difficult. But we have these practices to help us get through the struggles, get through that. And how we do it. So if you're going through the process of the 4 agreements to be impeccable with your word, you're looking at your internal dialogue first. You're not looking on the external. The impeccability with your word is your own internal self dialogue. What are you telling yourself? Are you being kind and loving? And if you're being harsh, where did that come from? And recognizing where that came from and where it was seeded and how the pattern actually started to be created from that one instance in your life that made you believe it was true when it's not. Okay. Once we're able to be aware of those thoughts, okay, we don't take things personally. So stop taking it personal because really us taking it personal is us going back to those patterns in our mind, saying that it's true when it's not. Thank you. I love that book. Glad to be here. So true. I agree with what you're saying. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, and then we have beyond that is to make assumptions. Now that is the external. Taking things personal is an internal thing. Then we take it to the external where we make assumptions based on those internal feelings. So really what it is, it's just an opportunity for us to be self-aware. The practice is self-awareness. The practice is being authentically truthful to yourself, not lying to yourself, being real about what is happening for you. Get real with yourself. Be true. If you can't be honest with yourself, you will never. How could you be honest with other people if you're not honest with yourself? Get honest. If something hurts you, rather than lie to yourself about it, accept it. That hurt me. That made me feel this way. Now, is it true? No. But when you accept it, you allow yourself to transmute, transfigure, transform the energy into something that's powerful. But when you don't accept it, you hold on to the energy, you get sick, and then you explode like a volcano and it just builds up too much. And then you're like, I really didn't mean for it to come out that way. But then it does because you don't know what else to do with the energy because you've been lying to yourself. Instead of allowing it to come up and out in these small spurts, you let it build up like a big volcano and then, or a geyser, or whatever you want to call it, and it spews out everywhere. Okay. Okay. So we are going to get to the third agreement. Tomorrow we'll start on the third agreement. And then time we'll read The Power of Now and then Spiritual Filled Woman. If the first book I ever read, and you could go onto my Facebook Live. I actually do a live video on Facebook Live as well at the same time. It's at Spirit and Coffee Talk for Facebook. But I did do videos. I've been doing this for about 2 years. And I did the first book I did was The Christ Blueprint 13 Keys to Christ Consciousness. If you've never read that book and you're a reader, I highly recommend that you do read it. You could also go back to my videos, but it took a year for me to get through that book. Like I said, I talk a lot. So I did some reading of it and then I would talk a whole bunch. But that book is amazing. So if you were ever interested in reading, I highly recommend you do. Okay, so there you go. So that is today. And today is Tuesday. I'm almost positive it is. Although yesterday felt like Sunday, so it could really be Monday for me. Um, so have a great Tuesday. And I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a very blessed day. Remember, you have these 3 agreements. You should be totally grounded and practicing. Go out and practice it in the world. Don't just think about it, actually practice it. Figure out what that would look like for you to actually be in action of these particular agreements. Okay? All right. So I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a great, great day. Enjoy your coffee, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.